Greetings friends and fans of YouTube, it is nice to see you all again. Welcome to another one of my videos. So today, as promised in the unboxing video, I am going to be reviewing this. This is my Aiersi Les Paul 22 that I have nicknamed Obsidian after the black gemstone. So I want to start by saying who Aiersi are. They are a Chinese manufacturer that basically do all the regular accessible shapes. I'm talking things like Explorers, SGs, Les Pauls, Telecasters and Strats, but at a much cheaper cost than, say, one of the branded models. But not necessarily skimping out on the materials used, and I'll explain why in a bit. So, basically, I have a friend on Facebook who imported this for me, and then set it up for me, and then sent me it. And I only paid £100 for this. But let me tell you how much guitar I actually get for that. So the first thing you'll notice is it is shaped very similar to an ESP Eclipse, which means it's a nice and accessible shape for me because I'm familiar with the guitar. It's a modern style Les Paul. It's a mahogany body with a mahogany neck and a Pau Ferro fretboard. So that is the only thing that is different between this and Emerald, which was the actual ESP that I had. It has 22 frets, which are medium spaced, nice and easy to play, nice and easy to access. The finish is high gloss black, and the neck is painted, set in construction, and it is all bound as well with a lovely white binding all the way up to the headstock, and then the headstock is not bound. All of the hardware is gold, including the straps, locks and buttons here. I have Grover machine heads, which for the amount of money I paid is ridiculous. Aiersi's own, as far as I'm aware, vintage style pickups, individual volume and tone controls, and a good, strong, sturdy three-way selector switch as a Tune-o-matic style bridge, which I'm even more familiar with because obviously I've played Explorers and Les Pauls before. So yeah, I paid £100 for this guitar, and people would expect that for the amount of materials that I have, that it would sound, well, crap. And it just really, really doesn't. And it's pleasantly surprised me and seriously made me throw a curveball in the idea of buying more expensive guitars. I mean, I'm always going to be one of those people that says I love an ESP, I love an Ibanez or a Jackson, because I do. But this has definitely thrown a curveball into how I would approach buying guitars in future, and you'll hear why. So, as you heard in the brief introduction, I am in drop C sharp, which is my band's current tuning. I'll mention more about that later, as that is a new project that I'm quite looking forward to. So, I'm going to flick over to the clean channel and do a review video as I always do, and we shall see how it sounds and whether or not it was definitely worth the money I paid. Here we are, friends and fans. So I am back now on the clean channel of my amp. For those that want to know, I am using a Blackstar ID Core 20, which is a digitally modelling amp. I haven't got it mic'd up. There's no editing in my videos. There never has been, as much as many people have asked me to do so. It's just time and effort more than anything. This is a lot easier and a lot more accessible around my work schedule and everything else that I do. So I'm going to start then in the neck position, and just to mention as well, this doesn't have a coil tap, which I'm not too bothered about, but other guitars I've had have, but this one doesn't, and I'm obviously not going to attempt to try and utilise it. So here we go. So you can hear it as incredibly warm and rounded. Now obviously most Les Paul shapes are built with mahogany anyway, and they have a naturally warm and resonant tone. That's just a prerequisite of Les Paul shapes being Les Paul shapes. But to give you an idea as well of that sort of bluesy lead kind of sound that this has, is so vintage sounding and feels so very, very genuine. You wouldn't think that this was a guitar I only paid £100 for. And that's the thing that always surprises me constantly. Like, when I pick this up to play, it is just so easy to play, but so familiar sounding as well. So I'm going to skip now to the 2 pickup split. And here we go again. Now that I would say is predominantly dominated a little bit more by that neck pickup compared to some guitars that I've had in these kind of reviews. But it does give it a nice sort of Telecaster-like twang when the leads come in. It's just a lovely warm sound. It's nothing untoward. It's nothing that makes you go ugh. Which again, for the pickups for the price, I'm still being blown away. So now I'm going to switch over to the bridge position pickup, and here we go again. Certainly much more treble orientated. I mean, obviously, when you look at traditional Les Paul styles, they do have rhythm and treble, indicative of what the pickup is designed to do. I've just always referred to it as neck and bridge. But it's definitely more treble based, and that does come in, I suppose, when you hear the lead. You hear the pick attack a lot more. This guitar sounds lovely bending, and I think it's because it has 9s on it, which I am going to change because I play a lot of rhythm. So 1052s will probably be my go-to, and they will be Ernie balls, as they always have been. So, my first impressions of the guitar in clean are, what's the difference between this and an ESP? Well, an ESP LTD at the very least. And I'm struggling to find one, to be truthfully honest. I am struggling to find any kind of comparison as to why this would not be an ideal choice for someone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to the distorted channel, go through all the tones again, and then sort of sum up the review a little bit and give you some other announcements too. Here we are, guys. So I am back now on the distorted channel of my amp. For anyone that does use an ID Core 20, it's Overdrive 1. And I have it voiced slightly more towards American style distortion, which is just a little bit more treble and a bit more gain and grit into the sound. I obviously have reverb on there as well, so the mix doesn't sound too flat. So I'm going to start again in the neck position, and here we go. Straight away, it does exactly what I would expect it to do. It's not crispy, clear sort of attack, if you like. It's exactly what a Les Paul would sound like, with some distortion running through it on the neck position. But again, really, really good for those lead tones. I love how warm that is, and it's a really nice, warm, creamy lead. And I'm going to have so much fun writing bluesy leads with that. So now I'm going to switch over to the 2 pickup split and go at this again. Same tone, same settings, everything is exactly the same. how well they sustain, they sound a lot more expensive than they are. And I don't know if it's the wiring, I don't know if it's because it's been set up, I don't know, but they sound phenomenal. A bit honky in the middle position though, which is what you'd expect. And again, just for the subtle... as warm as just the neck on its own, but certainly usable and sounding a bit more like a fuzz tone, which I suppose if you're in that kind of like funk or groove kind of band, that could work really, really well. So what I'm going to do now is switch to the bridge. Now the bridge is the position that everybody looks forward to me doing because it's the position I use the most because I am predominantly a rhythm player and I like to chug. So here we go. Sustained for so long it's not even funny how good they are. And for the lead sound in the bridge position, it squeals so well. The harmonics in this thing are ridiculous. I am in love with how that sounds, even though these are passive pickups. Again, I'm one of those, I do like the passive sound. I love actives for metal, but the passive sound is always where it's going to be for me, unless I'm writing or recording for an album. So in sum then, what's the difference? A lot of people obviously are brand loyal. That's obvious. People that have endorsements, people that just have always grown up around things like that. I always grew up around Ibanez's and Jacksons, hence why I played them so much. But genuinely, for how much I paid for this, I would pit this quite easily against an ESP LTD. All the way up to like the EC256 range, which is what I had, possibly a bit higher. The great thing about guitars this cheap is that they make excellent modding platforms. They're a good way for people that are new to playing guitar to pick up the necessary skills and then obviously look to progress it to a more expensive sounding instrument. I myself may possibly switch out the pickups for EMGs, possibly a headset or a 5766, which is what usually comes in the ESP Eclipse, and I'm set. I mean, the Grover tuners are fantastic. They're quite strong, they're quite sturdy, they don't feel cheap. But if all else fails, I could just get a gold set of piston locking tuners. But for £100, I can't compare a difference. And it has seriously thrown a curveball into how I approach shopping for guitars in future. Now, if I was to get endorsed, obviously I would use the endorsed instrument. But I would quite happily, and I mean quite happily, have this always in a gig rig as a backup and use it as a writing tool. I mean, because it's a fully on blank canvas, I might stick a bomb the hell out of it, I don't know. But that's the beauty of a guitar that's this cheap, you can do whatever you want to it. So, as I did announce, guys, I am now back in a band. It was a bit of an unexpected turn, but it was one that I'm quite happy about. I am now the rhythm guitarist for Sheffield-based band Black Moon Rising. These guys have supported Diamond Head on a tour at the Mulberry Tavern in Sheffield, along with other bands, and I'm quite looking forward to what we have released. I will leave links in the description for the band's SoundCloud and the band's Facebook if you want to follow us. We do have a gig lined up in September supporting Lagerstein, an Australian pirate metal band, which I'm quite looking forward to, and it's probably going to be the first gig I've played live in quite a few years, so I've got a little bit of dust to polish off in that respect. So, Aiersi guitars. If you get the chance, guys, check them out. They are fantastic instruments. As always, thank you very much for watching. Take care. and I'll see you soon.